Three minutes after 11, not a problem. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Postcards. I'm your host, Jenny Van West, and I'm here with my very wonderful and dear and new friend, Jay Peterson. And we're going to start out with the postcard song in the key of A. What do you think, Jay?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this. When you're down and you're blue and you don't know what to do, just write a postcard. When you're feeling fine and there's something on your mind, just write a postcard. Don't you know Grandma loves this show? She listens every time. You don't need a reason. You don't need a rhyme to write a postcard to 224 Anderson Street. Just write a postcard. 04101. Just write a postcard to Portland, Maine. 'Cause Grandma loves this show. Well, welcome to Postcards, everybody, and welcome to Postcards, Jay Peterson.
Great.
It's so wonderful to have you
happy
here.
to be here.
Yeah, and we've got some listeners this morning. I'm going to go ahead and put on my hat that I just found behind the couch.
Oh, I could have brought a cool hat next time.
Next time, we're going to do this again. This is just the first time.
Great.
So we're so happy to have you here, Jay, and we're just going to see who's in the room. Yes, it's Diggy Cat from California, Santa Clarita, calling in. Yeah. So, Jay, I know we just met, and we've had so many conversations on so many topics, music being only one.
That's
but
right.
What we do on this show is just basically chit chat, have a good time, talk about stuff and things, and we seem to be able to do that just fine. So
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
We would do it whether we were on camera or not.
This is true. So, among other things, you spent many years working for Minnesota Public Radio.
Well, not direct. I worked for Prairie Home Companion off and on, and was a guest performer a few times.
Yeah,
I guess about 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
But that show changed a lot of people's lives in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, where I'm from originally, and I watched it go from a little. Cost $2 to get in 1974, and then maybe get 100 people. And all of a sudden, by 1980, it was a big deal. So anyway,
yeah.
And I designed the powdered milk biscuit logo, if anybody's ever seen that.
That is that. So go look it up, people. Put a link in the comments. Okay. So, well, and I also have to say that typically when I'm doing this show, I don't have a guest in the studio. So thank you for shoehorning yourself into the,
of course,
into this postcard studio. We have another listener coming in from Queens, New York. Hello, Judas
Coast
Wyman.
to coast.
Oh yeah, we got coast to coast.
My son's in California right now. So
where is he in California?
He's in Hollywood.
Hollywood, California. It's a place, that's for sure. It's an experience.
Yeah.
So, well, it would be great to maybe roll into a song. What's
oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. All right. Well, as we were talking about before, I've been trying to catalog all of my songs, and it's a never-ending process.
Yeah.
And I'll think of a song that I haven't played for 30 years, and that'll make me play the song that I've left alone. So for some reason, I think it was just because it was kind of a dark, gloomy morning. I made this little sidebar category of really dark songs.
Awesome.
And I don't know why that is, but I play 3 or 4 of those, and it makes me feel better. There's something odd about country music. I said it before. When life gets rough and hard times trouble you, there is no music like C&W. And then on my way over here, of course, our friend Lincoln Pierce was doing this incredible tribute to Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
And he played an hour of stuff from just her first year, 1960.
Oh, amazing.
She just exploded.
Yeah.
out of the chute. But anyway,
Yeah.
I kind of got all the dark stuff out of my.
Okay, let's go dark. Let's do
Really,
this.
we could. Nothing cheers you up on a Monday morning than songs about bank robbery and ultimately death. This is the longest song title I know. The girl who loved the man who robbed the bank in Santa Fe and got away.
Jay Peterson on Postcards.
The cowboy was drunk and bragging. He told her he had a wagon all loaded with silver and gold, covered over with hay. She cried when she learned what he'd done that day. The girl who loved the man who robbed the bank in Santa Fe and got away. Oh, take it all back, she pleaded, said his love was all she needed. But he said, I only did it for you. Don't talk to me that way. Because she loved him so, she said, okay. The girl who loved the man who robbed the bank in Santa Fe and got away. But later that night, as she lay in the arms of her man, he talked in his sleep and he revealed his plan. He talked in his sleep and he gave himself away. And he spoke of another girl waiting in Santa Fe, with the same loving arms that thrilled him. She picked up his gun and killed him and scattered his money all over his body, right where he lay. She was the only mourner at his grave. The girl who loved the man who robbed the bank in Santa Fe and got away.
Oh, wow. Jay Peterson here on Postcards. Oh, my
Kicking
goodness.
things off with a real cheer me upper.
Well, you know, there is a saying, it's always 70 and sunny in the Postcard studio, and today's no different. But the songs are more in keeping with what's going on outside, which is gloomy. It's a gloomy day.
Well, this is our first gray day in a long time. So
Yeah.
we've had a beautiful fall here in Maine.
Yes, actually we have, and it's the last this weekend was quite gorgeous with the blue skies and the white clouds and the whole 9 yards, and some really glorious trees turning. Full moon last night. I was sitting in my hammock checking that out.
Yeah. Yep. Good place to live.
Yeah, it is. So you have
some coffee for you folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Postcards. We're so glad you're here. I'm here with my very dear and wonderful and new friend, Jay Peterson, new old friend.
Yeah.
I think we're new old friends.
I think that's the way I felt when we met.
I feel like we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Great.
Yeah. So you know, in your years of collecting songs and making music, you know, I'm assuming that you've probably had some fits and starts in terms of you know, because you've raised kids, you've had jobs, you've done all these other things along with playing music. Sometimes music has also been your job, obviously.
Well, I've never made my primary living from music. I'm an old school sign painter. There aren't very many of us left in the world. I'm not a computer graphics guy at all. You know,
that's what I want to be when I grow up, right? It's true.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll put you to work.
Okay. I'd be into that.
So, but it seems like So I was born in 1954, and it seems like the music I love, that might be actually towards the more recent end of the music I love. But I love old music. And then my trade, I basically make signs the way they would have been made 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy it. I know how to do computer signs. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're only given so many years. Why not enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, so do you have you had, you know, 'cause when we were discussing earlier over scrambled eggs and toast and coffee and stuff like that, sitting here at the Postcard Studio Annex, which is also called the dining room table, you were saying that you've been trying to you know, make your song list.
Yeah.
And you've been working on that for
about 40
while.
years. But I really intensified it this last week, because I opened my guitar case and went, I can't get my guitar in here anymore. I've got like 35 pieces of paper. That's not good. My luthier friends say, don't stuff your case. Plus, if you're at a gig, you go, well, this is my Beatles list. That's not what I'm looking for. There's my Bob Dylan list. There's my original list. So I just have to somehow accept the fact that I got to put this all in my phone. Modern life.
Modern life.
Oh, the future's been here a long time now.
So
you know,
you heard it here first, people. The future's been here a long time.
Yeah. How do you like the future so far?
You know, I would say that the jury's still out, and as you know, as you've discovered, I also have a love for older music, older things, maybe some older ways of doing things, like mechanical typewriter and that kind of thing. But I want to let's continue the conversation maybe after a quick station ID and another song, maybe.
Station ID.
I know it's going to be really quick.
Okay.
You're listening to Postcards. I'm Jenny Van West, coming to you live from the Postcard Studio in Portland, Maine. I'm here with my very wonderful new old friend, Jay Peterson. And so 11:15, typically we have steals and deals. Oh, we have some hellos to do. I don't want to miss that. Diana Griffin Ennis, good morning. She's going to get her booster shot, coming to us live from the Heartland Song Network, KKFI. And good to have you here. And good morning, Bruce Bjork. Nice to see you here. Oh, yes. And then there's the hellos that go around the chat room. Nice to see everybody.
That's a Scandinavian name, Bjork.
Yeah. Actually, Bruce and I met because Bruce's son and I have played music together quite a bit. Greg Bjork is a wonderful mandolin player and person. And actually, when I was first getting back into writing songs and playing out, he was my co-collaborator. And we both have Finnish ancestry. So there you go.
Great.
There you go. That's the story there. And let's see if there's anybody else to say good morning to. Good morning. Oh, and my Aunt Marjorie James coming in live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Nice to see you here, Aunt Marge. I know.
This is fun.
I know. So typically at 11:15 we have steals and deals, but guess what? I don't have my P.O. box anymore. You can write to us at 224 Anderson Street. I'm not going to make a big deal about this, but 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine, 04101. Here's the deal with steals and deals. I need you guys to send me some so that we can continue to read steals and deals at 11:15 on our show. So there's your challenge for this week. Get right on over to the circulars from the grocery store and do some clipping and snipping and send it on over to 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine, 04101.
You mean real mail?
Yes.
So I love it already. Postcards.
Postcards,
Send me
man.
a letter. Write me a letter.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And you know, So let's go back to talking music for a second, and maybe stop talking and go into another song.
I can do that.
How do you feel about that?
Good. I feel good about it. I've got a grandniece that just turned 5, and she loves this one, especially this time of the year. This is written by a kind of a team of people. There was a wonderful African American group from Chicago, Martin Bogan and Armstrong. Do you ever hear of those guys?
No, I don't know those guys.
Oh, they were incredible. They'd all be over 100 now, but they were wonderful. And they used to come up to Minneapolis all the time. I don't know if they might have been on Prairie Home Companion once, But you remember Steve Goodman?
Oh, yes.
He absolutely adored these guys, and he saw to it that they got some high-paying gigs. So they wrote this tune, and then I think it was Jay Unger that added a verse. What's that time of the year? Late one night, in the pale moonlight, all the vegetables gave a spree. They put out the sign that said the dancing's at 9, and all the admissions were free. There was peas and greens, cabbage and green beans. It was the biggest crowd you ever did see. When old man Cucumber struck up that number, you should have heard the vegetables scream. Oh, the little turnip top did the backwards flop. The cabbage shook the shimmy, she could not stop. Little red beet shook her feet. The watermelon died in the cockeyed heat. Little zucchini was such a meanie. He picked a fight with the kosher weenie. He said, no meat allowed, this is a vegetable crowd. Down at the barnyard dance this morning. Down at the barnyard dance.
Oh my goodness.
That time of the year, huh?
Totally.
I love that line. Oh, I forgot a verse.
You did?
I'll insert it. We can edit it later. Oh, the Indian corn had the red dress on. The Chinese cabbage tried to kick the gong. This is where I should have been. You should have seen that French green bean when the chili pepper punched out the mustard green. Old man Zucchini, he was such a meanie. He picked a fight with the kosher weenie. He said, no meat allowed, this is a vegetable crowd. Down at the barnyard dance this morning. Down at the barnyard dance. There I got.
Songs about food.
Sometimes you can squish the second part of one verse into the beginning of the first verse, but I think it's a pretty forgiving audience.
Oh yes, most definitely. Most
great
definitely.
Song.
You're in great. You're in great
time
company
of the year
here.
for that. So,
when you started, when I realized I was listening to a song about food, it made me think of. Are you familiar with Shiny Ribs from Austin, Texas? Have you ever heard that? So he's got. He's a more he's a contemporary artist who you should check out because he's got
Shiny Ribs.
Shiny Ribs. That's his stage name.
It's a restaurant name.
Is it a restaurant name?
No, I said it sounds like it could be a.
Oh, it sounds like a restaurant name, but he's got
Great.
food in every single song.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's great stuff. Anyway,
I'm glad we had breakfast. Food songs make me hungry. I'm a sign painter, and this summer I painted signs at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival for 2 months. And there are all these food signs, one after another, all of it heart attack food.
Totally.
Cream of something or other on a stick, fried in bacon and then cheese. So I did get hungry. I would say, I got to stop. I got to go get something to eat. But I didn't want to eat any of that stuff because I care about my heart.
Yeah.
So I think a turkey leg is about the healthiest thing they have there.
Do you like a smoked turkey leg?
Yeah.
The honest to God gigantic caveman.
And I don't know where they find these.
Leg.
They must have like 90-pound turkeys out there because they're really big. Huge. Big turkey legs.
Yeah. When I a couple of years ago, because I have a real international cast of friends, as I think you know, and I decided I was going to fast for Ramadan with the big kids, which is no joke. It's a month-long deal. I did it for 2.5 weeks, and I did it like a kid. One of my Muslim friends was like, "You can do it just till 6 o'clock, and you don't have to be like till." But I think it was the second week when I was breaking the fast at 6 p.m. and I went over to the Rosemont Market, and they had smoked turkey legs.
That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it if you're going to break a fast.
Well,
big old smoked turkey leg, about
4 or 5 times out there.
Nice.
There was some. Everything was wrapped in bacon. One of the booths with the turkey legs actually it was a turkey leg wrapped in bacon and deep fried and then with cheese on top of that. Oh, just hear your arteries slamming shut.
Okay, we have some.
Can we get an apple or something?
Yeah.
Not that
How
I'm
about some kale?
the great. Oh no! Don't get me started on that. No.
If you're just joining us, welcome to Postcards, live in the studio this morning. Jay Peterson. We're having a fabulous time talking about this, that, and the other thing. And Judith Swyman, we hear you. We hear you and raise you a turkey leg. So let's see. We've I don't even know what to say next. Let's see. We've had a gig together. We've played together twice. We've had 2 times, and we discovered pretty quickly that we have a common love of these older country and western songs and the that early radio, early television recordings of stuff. Now, I think you also go back, your songs that you've fallen in love with go back into the 20s. Is that right? You're going to go back as far back as you can.
There we go.
Yeah.
About 100 years.
Yeah. And what are the different ways that you've accessed or found or
that's
come
a fun
into contact?
Topic. Well, my parents were amateur musicians. In fact, they met when they were little kids. They were 5 years old, 4 and 5 years old. They were neighbors in a little town called Luck, Wisconsin. That's where my parents are from. It used to be
Wisconsin.
It was the yo-yo capital of the world. That's where Duncan yo-yos were made. So we all had yo-yos. Anyway, so my parents were my mom played piano and flute and piccolo in the high school band in Luck, and my dad played tuba. So they're like the biggest and smallest instruments. So they played in the band. It was such a small high school that my dad would play. He would play football. He was quite the athlete. So he'd play, and then intermission, he had to go play tuba. Intermission, halftime. I'm not a football guy, so I used the wrong word. And then he put the tuba down, and then go finish the game and play. But after high school, they didn't play too much anymore. But my grandfathers both played music, not with each other.
Yeah.
My dad's dad was all Swedish, and he sang with his 2 of his cousins. And they sang in church, and they also sang the popular music of the day, and they sang in Swedish too.
No kidding.
And then my mom's dad played accordion and fiddle and mandolin and guitar and piano, everything. Yeah. But I just loved music right from the get-go. And my mom was always singing. She's too busy raising kids to sit down and play the piano very much. But once in a while, we'd do that. And she was always singing, and I would sing with her. In fact, I was born on the day that Elvis Presley's That's All Right, Mama was released, his very first song. Wow. So that was kind of a fun thing that my mom and I would have. It was That's All Right, Mama, and my mom loved that. But we would sing a little bit together, just, hanging out, doing the laundry or, I don't know if I was that helpful as a kid. I think my job was just to talk to my mom while she got the supper ready.
Which is a very important job.
But I just fell in love with radio very early on. And my first 2 jobs in life were being a ranch hand in South Dakota and also Saturday morning radio. It was called like the Top Teen Show or something like that. It was just 15 minutes. Yeah. But I think I was 15 on the local radio show. So I fell in love with that. And then off and on through the years, I've had radio shows. Yeah. So I'm always listening to music. And, so I'm 68, right? And I loved the music of the day when I was growing up. I loved Elvis Presley as a little kid. Yeah. And then when the Beatles came around, oh my God. I mean, the 60s were such a great time to grow up with music. And a lot of people, when they talk about the 60s, they mention Woodstock. Well, that was the last couple months of the 60s. Yeah. And, but my God, the Motown thing from Detroit and the Rolling Stones and the middle 60s was just a gold mine. Yeah. But then again, I never really lost my love of old country music. I didn't talk about to my friends that was so uncool to like this hillbilly music. Wow, are you ever weird? But
That's so,
just soak it all up.
What were they listening to? Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
Beatles.
Well, top 40 radio.
Okay.
Think about that.
Yeah.
It was, I don't even know if there is such a thing now. Maybe.
There's.
I suppose.
Well, yeah, there's kind of a lot more of them. There's I think there's a less centralized top 40, top 100 kind of situation.
Idea. But there was now music comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in your phone, it's in your blender, it's everywhere. But back then it was like, okay, which radio station do you listen to? In Minneapolis, it was KDWB or WDGY. They pretty much had the same songs.
Yeah.
But I loved that music.
Yeah.
Jeez, the Beatles and Bob Dylan, of course, my homie, from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Anyway, soak it all up.
Soak it all up,
soak
people.
Soak it all up.
Soak it all up. You heard it here.
Get a big roll of paper towels and soak it up.
Hey, so we've got a Judith coming to us from Queens. My buddy Judith. Oh my God, you're the same age as me, Jay.
Who is?
Judith Swyman down in the Queens.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Queens. I've never been to Queens.
Oh, that's my home in New York, Jackson Heights. Isn't
that in Car 54? Where are you, song?
I don't know.
You should know that song.
Oh my God!
Especially you're 54.
I am 54.
Let's see. There's a holdup in the Bronx. Brooklyn's broken out in fights. There's a traffic jam in Harlem that's backed up to Jackson Heights. There's
Judith,
a scout
you know
troop short a child. Khrushchev's do it idle wild. There's an old New York name for you. Car 54, where are you? Well, that show was on right about the time you were born. No, it was done. That was on like from 1955 to 1960.
Okay.
Wonderful show.
Car 54,
where are you?
Car 54. And was that the theme song? They played it every time?
Yeah, that's how the show started.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the cops were Tootie and Muldoon.
All right. Car 54. Ah, yes.
Somebody knows that one.
Judith.
Not too bad for having never been to Queens.
Oh, that show.
I've been to every other borough.
New York, it was.
Hey, I got a question for our Queens friend.
Okay, question for Queens.
Why is it the Bronx? Was there ever a time when there was just one Bronx and then it got bigger?
That's a great question. And my father-in-law is grew up in the Bronx, and I'll ask him. Yeah, why is it called the Bronx?
Why is it plural?
Yeah.
There's more than one Bronx. And why is it an X? I bet it's a Dutch thing, right?
I don't know.
Somebody will know.
Somebody will know. All right, Judith.
A New York person or
a
Dutch person will know.
Well, we're gonna do a quick station idea, and then I think another song, and then we got a letter from Grandma. We got mail.
Okay.
Sorry to shout. I usually am just shouting to myself. If you're just joining us, this is Postcards. Welcome
I know
to the
you're
show.
not mad at me.
Oh no.
Not yet.
I'm sure that'll happen someday. That's the hallmark of longtime friends.
Well, when Scandinavians shout, you gotta wonder, is there something going on here?
Yeah.
Usually we're pretty quiet.
Okay, so there's a whole nother topic because I was so not in the know about Scandinavian culture because my grandmother left Astoria, Oregon, and she married a doctor in California, went to Washington D.C., started, got away from immigrant life and culture.
Yeah.
So
no lime jello for you, huh? No lutefisk suppers.
There were no lutefisk suppers.
Good for you.
No speaking Finnish or Swedish. And they're
not the same.
Yeah, we were the Great American Melting Pot.
What's your station ID? How do you do that? Maybe I could do that next time.
Sure. You're listening to Postcards. I'm your host, Jenny Van West, coming to you live from the Postcard Studio. We're here with my very wonderful and pretty much relatively new, but new friend, Jay Peterson, bringing us songs and stories and whatnot. We're just so glad you're here. This is really a hoot. I'm just loving it. You can write to us, P.O. Box 125. Oh no, 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine 04101. All right, and so I'm thinking, roommate Swedish Finnish. I want to talk to you about that. I'm Swedish Finnish. Swedish speaking Finns. That's where I come from. Ronnie, Alan Newsom, nice to see you here. All right, so we're all caught up with our friends here. As some of you know, we get letters from Grandma periodically. We don't need postcards this week. We have a letter from Grandma, and I'm thinking maybe we'll sing a song and then read a letter from Grandma. How does that sound?
Okay, all right. Well, we were talking about the 60s and the 50s. Good times to grow up. Black and white TV, 3 channels, always something on. Now there's 600 channels and there's not that much on. But this is a song that I wrote. I was sitting with my friend Ron Miles in a Denny's restaurant in Brainerd, Minnesota, which is right in the middle of the state. And Ron he's from Georgia originally, and he's got a great accent, even after living in Minnesota for 60 years. But we were eating breakfast, and he was looking at the New York Times. He goes, well, C.O. Ravi Shankar's made the Sunday crossword again. As he frequently does, because he's got a cool little short name with a V in it.
Yeah, and a K.
And then all of a sudden, Ron goes, Ravi Shankar. And I went, we got to make a song here.
Yeah.
So I just wrote this song on the spot. He was a big, influential guy in the 60s. The sitar. What would the 60s have been without the sitar?
That's what I'm talking about.
Different.
Yeah, different.
Key do I do this? Born in a backwoods Indian town. So people of a certain age will recognize the melody I'm stealing. Born in a backwoods Indian town, only sitar picker for 100 miles around. In a battle of the bands with Nickel Banner, she picked the steel sitar rag, but he was only 3. Ravi Shankar, king of the wild sitar. The Beatles and Donovans thought he was cool. George even went off to sitar school, but he got frustrated with the bars and the strings, cause it takes 5 years just to tune the damn thing. Ravi Shankar, gonna be a rock and roll star. Well, he played at Woodstock in '69 for 500,000 hippies stoned out of their mind. Sitting on his butt on an oriental rug, he was picking up a storm without the aid of drugs. Ravi Shankar, king of the wild sitar. Ravi, he was quite a ladies' man. He had him lined up by the old bandstand, waiting in line just to jump his bones. One became the mother of little Nora Jones. It's a fact.
True story.
But now he's just a number on a crossword page, a 4-letter word from a bygone age. I thought he'd gone back to his Indian town, but here he is again at 37 down. It's Ravi Shankar, king of the wild sitar.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Jay Peterson live here in the Postcard studio. That is a good song. Thank you. And have you ever had the chance to share that with him?
No, it's too late now. He's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
And I
so it was when he showed up in the Crossroads.
I think he was still alive.
Yeah.
I wrote that in about 1988 or something.
Yeah.
And I think I've tried to get up the nerve to send it to Nora Jones, but haven't done that yet.
All right. So if you think Jay should promptly forthwith work up the nerve to send that song to Nora Jones.
I just love Nora
Do leave
Jones,
a comment.
and I wouldn't want to make her mad. So
true.
Or
I understand.
her mom.
Exactly.
You don't want to get her mad at you. She's wonderful.
Yeah, she is, and she the tone of that voice has soothed many a disquieted heart.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Yep. So Jay Peterson here on Postcards in the Postcard Studio. We are having the time of our lives over here, and so happy that you're with us this morning. Let's see who else has joined us while we were listening to that song. Max Jones, what's up? Nice to see you here. Glad to be with everybody. We had a couple comments. Let's see. I went to a Ravi Shankar concert when I was like 13.
Me too.
Diggy says 4 or 5 Ravi CDs. Standing on the corner in Brainerd, Minnesota, such a fine sight to see.
Okay, I get the illusion.
And then there's conversations that go on down here. So that get beyond me while I'm doing the show. So you guys just keep it up. So one of the things we do here, Jay, is read the mail. And behind you, there's just a small sampling of, I'm just going to turn this for a second. Y'all who sent me postcards last spring. There's your amazing work. And what I'm hoping to do is down in my new studio, once I have internet, is to put them all up on the wall, make a massive postcard studio wall. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. But we do have a letter from Grandma today. We haven't heard from Grandma in a while, so y'all get ready, all you Grandma fans. So if you don't know about Grandma, Grandma lives in a place called North Moldova. Never have found it on a map. It's an island country off the coast of Finland, and was settled down by some folks who were whose families were Finnish immigrants to Astoria, Oregon, and then went back and founded their own little spot.
Wow.
And she loves postcards, so she writes to us. Okay, October 7th, 2022. This was last week. Dear grandchildren, life is good on North Moldova. The sheep are growing their winter fleeces. The wool has all been delivered to our buyers in Finland and Denmark, and we are putting away an excellent store of potatoes, beets, carrots, and of course, we have a good stow of lamb in freezers powered by our solar array. Okay, that's news to me. I did not know that they had freezers. This is a new thing. It's probably cold enough up there in the winter that they.
Where is this? Off the coast of someplace?
Yeah, it's like
it's up north.
Yeah, it's up north. Yeah,
well, they only need freezers like for a month there.
Probably.
And otherwise, outside is a freezer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to ask her about that. Today, we enjoyed listening to your first show of the fall season with Ariel Silver. That was last week on the 7th. Let's see. It was last week on the 3rd. Can't wait to hear your show with Jay Peterson. We remember him from all those years on Prairie Home Companion on the wireless. How about that? Longtime fan. Did you know that? Grandma loves you too.
Wow.
Be good to one another. Love, Grandma. All right, Grandma. Thanks for writing to us. We're so glad you're listening in. So glad to hear from you. Glad to hear things are okay on North Moldova. If anybody wants to write to Grandma, just send it to 224 Anderson Street, Portland, Maine 04101, and we will make sure she gets that, and that she writes. We'll make sure she gets your note. You got questions? You need advice? Grandma's there for us. She doesn't have a lot to do during the winter.
I better write to her too. We
I think
could be
so.
friends.
You need some advice?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I generally steady diet of being in need of that. I noticed that the laptop is sitting on top of a book called Good Type, The Art of Lettering. Did you plan that?
I didn't. This is one of my favorite new books. Good Type, The Art of Lettering. Robinson's the last name of the compiler of this book. But I've been married for 26 years to a guy I've known since 1984, and he's seen me through multiple careers and efforts and so forth. And we haven't even had a chance to talk about this. So as a professional sign painter, letterer, I'll just say that I also have a great passion for typography. I've worked as a book designer, worked in publishing, which is where I got my start in that. And then during the pandemic, actually, as some of you know, I broke my leg and hit my head. And there were about 2 or 3 months when I really couldn't do a whole lot except draw. And so I used that time partly to get back into, drawing, illustrating, and doing hand lettering. So
good.
There you go.
Well, I'm going to put you to work sooner or later.
I would really like that. I would actually really like it. We'll talk about that.
The folks on the other side of the screen, they're back behind the computer. I just want to admit, look at those books. You can't see this. There's The Good War by Studs Terkel, who I had the pleasure of interviewing one time, interviewing the great interviewer.
Yeah.
And then there's this book about lettering, and then there's the dictionary where there's just a word for everything.
And this I know, and for some reason we only met this year.
Yeah.
That's you know what? It's never too late for a good old new friend.
That's true. Some people have a hard time making friends when they get old, but not me. Isn't it funny we have this Facebook thingy now that we didn't have when we were growing up? And I think it's kind of odd that you get these friend requests. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking about the other day, I thought, if I go through this list of people, It's a lot of people, and a lot of them are really, really friends.
Yeah.
They're not just like 7 degrees of separation, like the mechanic's sister's veterinarian or something who wants to be your friend, you know. So, and being a polite Swedish guy, I go, oh, I got a friend request. I should just say yes because I'm nice, and then they're probably nice too. And then, of course, you might go, oh, wait a minute, we're already friends. Then you're in trouble because then it's
someone spoofing them.
Some swine in Make-Up-A-Stand that wants to get into your bank account. So be careful. Choose your friends wisely.
This is true.
Can I play another song?
Yeah, please. Okay.
Well,
Jay Peterson here on Postcards.
As the cool weather moves in, and it sure did last night. Was it 37 or something?
Yeah.
We think we turn to the south and think, oh, those folks down there, it's still in the 80s down there. But that's okay, they can have it. They also have hurricanes there and alligators, and we don't have those. Anyway,
hurricanes and alligators.
That'll be another one.
That'll be a band name. Actually, it'll be actually, that could be our first tour.
Well, there's
the Hurricane and Alligator Tour.
Yeah, there is a group called Otis and the Hurricanes. They're fabulous, but not Alec, maybe. Anyway, we're off the topic. I love this tune. Let's just say that. I love it, and let's do it. Moonlight in Magnolia, starlight in your hair, all the world's a dream come true. Did it really happen? And was I really there? Was I really there with you? We lived our little drama. We kissed in fields of white, and stars fell on Alabama last night. I can't forget the glamour. Your eyes shone a tender light, and stars fell on Alabama last night. I never planned in my imagination a situation so heavenly, a fairyland where no one else could enter, and in the center, just you and me, dear. My heart beat like a hammer. Your arms wound around me tight, and stars fell on Alabama last night. I never planned in my imagination a situation so heavenly, a fairyland where no one else could enter, in the center, just you and me, dear. My heart beat like a hammer. Your arms wound around me tight, and stars fell on Alabama last night.
Jay Peterson here in Postcard Studio. So I don't even know what to say. This is the occupational hazard, as you're probably aware of doing shows with people who are really fine musicians. Is that they I get so caught up in what's going on that I forget to attend to business. I'm running a live show.
I can talk. I tend to talk too much.
Really?
But I did radio for a long time. So, But I understand that there are times whether I was doing a music show or whether I was being a board operator and news guy on Maine. I was on Maine Public Radio for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And once in a while, I just blank out or something. Well, being a board operator was kind of easy to just sort of fall into the drudge of reading whatever was up on the screen. But when something would go wrong, like one time my screen just went dark. And I was supposed to be mentioning, when the opera was going to be on or whatever. And boom, dark.
Gone.
I thought, what do I say now?
Yeah.
So I just did a weather forecast off the top of my head because I had just done it an hour before that, but I couldn't read it because it was dark. And then Charles Beck, who was the CEO of Maine Public Radio, called. Says, what's wrong? What's going on here? He had a great voice, and I said it on the air. I was so flustered. I said, the screen just went dark, and then it went light again. Somebody fixed it. I was in the Bangor studio, and somebody in the Portland studio caught it, and I said, it's okay. Goodbye. Yeah. But I did that all on the air. So sometimes,
sometimes you just got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah. And I appreciate that too, because it's like one of the things that has one of the reasons that I love having my folks tune in with me every Monday is that especially during the pandemic when I was doing it a couple times a week, this was where I was able to keep my chops up, just being like off the cuff.
Oh, we did stuff like that.
Yeah, be off the cuff and just be like, okay, this is what's happening. And, there's been, I think what I'm going to do with my, if I ever have an opportunity to retire is probably go back through all these shows and like do a super cut of all the funny moments where something went wrong, because that's part of what makes the show sometimes.
It's great. It's great. That's what Carol Burnett did.
Yeah. Okay.
We're still looking for her. Well, she had that show for 18 years or something like that. But now it's going to be a full-length movie. It's coming out next year. That'll be fun.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope it's in the clips.
Hope we can get popcorn in the big theater and stuff. That'd be fun.
Oh, you can get. I think you can get it.
Is it going to be out in the theaters? Carol Burnett movie?
I think so. I don't know. Who even thinks about that anymore?
We do.
Like, let's go to the theater.
Oh yeah.
And get some popcorn and some jujubes.
Yeah.
And watch a movie.
Wow, jujubes. I can feel those in my teeth right now.
Yeah. Ooh. Where's my toothbrush? Folks, we're going to brush our teeth right after this show. Just even thinking about the bad stuff you would eat at movie theaters.
Yeah.
I think things have changed. I haven't been to a theater like a lot of people since pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But I remember, what's the last movie I saw? Anyway, I can't remember. Oh, The Peanut Butter Falcon. Great movie.
Oh, don't know it.
Wonderful movie. And I saw it in Chanhassen, Minnesota. And on the outside of this theater, there's a great big mural of 30 feet tall of Prince, which is kind of cool because that's where his studio was. Anyway, where am I going with this? So they had all this la-di-da food. And there was like jujubes and junk, candy bars for like $9.
Yep.
And then there was this new age section where they had like
kale chips,
stuff like that. Yeah. No, there was like seaweed cookies and pomegranate juice.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything.
Which is better for you. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But may not be the authentic, movie theater experience the person's looking for.
No,
I can understand.
But times they are changing.
Yeah,
as Bob said.
So if you're just joining us, welcome to Postcards. I'm here with the very wonderful Jay Peterson here live in the studio, which I don't get to do all the time. As much as I love to do this show with people around the place, we've had guests here from all over the country coming in on the wires. It's just really great to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
And we got a little bit of an early start. We got to catch up a little bit, eat some, make some breakfast, drink some coffee. And I'm thinking maybe it's time for another song. You into it?
Okay, I'll do that. But I was thinking, we've been talking about Scandinavian stuff, and one thing that you missed out on by not growing up in Minnesota was Ole and Lena jokes, or Ole and Sven jokes. I wonder if I'm just wondering if I'll tell one, and then I don't know if anybody's checking in from the Midwest or not, but
we had
you'll have to
we had
tell
a
me
quick
if
stop
you
in
think this is
from
funny.
yeah. All right.
Some of these you can't tell without really knowing who's listening, because some of them are a little naughty. But here's a quick one.
All right.
I'll give a
And you can tell this joke because I am ethnically
yeah,
Swedish.
Yeah. Well, Ole died, and Lena went down to the newspaper and she says, "Well, I suppose I better post a notice about this." And they said, "Okay, it's $5. We'll just write Ole died." And the guy at the newspaper said, "Well, you can write more than that if you want." "Okay, Ole died, boat for sale." Well, there's a lot of these you can't. Is everybody a grown up here?
Yes, everybody's
so?
a grown up.
Okay,
It is.
This is kind of PG, but not R or X.
We're PG-11 here.
So Ole and Lena got married, and they got married in North St. Paul, and they're heading up Highway 61, and they can hardly just wait because it's their honeymoon night. And so Ole is singing a little song, and he puts his hand on Lena's knee, and she says, "Ole, we're married. You can go farther if you want." He goes, "By golly, we'll go all the way to Duluth." Okay, that's enough of that.
Okay. Jay Peterson live in the Postcard studio.
Jay, we talked earlier in the show about growing up with the Beatles. Buy you diamond ring, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I'll get you anything, my friend, if it makes you feel alright. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. I get you all I got to give if you say you love me too. May not have a lot to give, but what I give to you. I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Buy me love. Oh, everybody tells me so. Can't buy me love. Oh, no, 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 no. Say you don't need no diamond rings and I'll be satisfied. Tell me that you want the kind of things that money just can't buy. But I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love. Well, I don't care too much for money. Money can't buy me love.
Yeah, I love that rendition, Jay.
Here we go.
Love that rendition.
They did all that before they were 30. The Beatles, unbelievable. What, hundreds and hundreds of songs, and then they were no more Beatles.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They weren't even 30. Maybe Ringo was 30.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Still
around.
They couldn't have had any concept of what was going to happen. Is my thought. I don't think anybody can ever fully predict something like that.
No.
Like how ripe the United States was to receive them.
Because what had happened right before that? John Kennedy had been shot. He was dead.
Yeah.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was 9. And you weren't here yet, right? No,
68.
You weren't here yet. Oh, what a year to be born.
Mm.
Anyway, we were so sad. The entire country was so busted up by that. It was like, it's like the post-World War II era ended right then. We were all kind of still, the Eisenhower years were pretty laid back, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like a grandpa, and then this incredible young, vivacious president comes along, and then bang, gone.
Yeah.
And the Beatles, we needed something like that. We needed to just go, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, the whole British thing, nobody ever thought about any kind of thing like British music. What is that?
Right.
But by the time 1960 rolled around, I like talking about music, by the way.
That's why you're here.
So Elvis was in the army. Jerry Lee Lewis was completely gone because he had married his 13-year-old cousin.
Oh my God!
So he wasn't popular anymore. I mean, he was banned he was blacklisted.
Yeah.
Little Richard was become a minister. He wasn't recording rock and roll anymore.
Oh,
Chuck Berry was in jail. The Everly Brothers were a big deal in life from the late 50s to about the beginning of the Beatles. And then Buddy Holly was dead.
Yep.
Gene Vincent and Eddie Cochran were dead. So the Beatles kind of handed us our own music back to us. And the Rolling Stones too, of course. That it's like, okay, you guys aren't using the rhythm and blues anymore, so we'll do it.
Yeah.
You're all singing these real creamy sort of music, but the Stones and the Beatles and the Animals and groups like that, they said, okay, we'll take this if you're not using it.
Yeah.
we'll do this Muddy Waters song.
Wow. Well, it's so interesting, Jay, because I've never heard like that moment put in that context in the same kind of a way, particularly with the grief around the assassination of JFK.
Yeah.
And how
I don't think it's my original thought.
No. But like, it's maybe not.
It
but
makes sense though.
Yeah, it totally does. And I think that, one of the, it comes back to what I feel is probably in my world, among other things, the most important thing about music, which is that it's a healing force in and of itself, unconnected from the people who make it, maybe also, but that it has this ability to give people a reason to celebrate, just in and of itself. And that in and of that quality is a healing force, And so talking about grief, especially in a country that had up until that point, you have the 50s. I mean, I wasn't alive then, but like all the grief and carrying on that had to happen after World War II.
Yeah. So that was the first generation that we really were, people were focusing on. This is a youth culture now.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll. Those people were born either during the war or at the beginning of the war or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in 1956, 1957, when Elvis exploded onto the scene, those people were born at the beginning of the war. Like John Lennon, born in 1940.
Right.
Now he's been gone more than 40 years.
That's a day I'll never forget.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So all those markers in our lives, Martin Luther King.
2 weeks after I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems like when I remember those markers, there's music in my head that goes with that.
Yeah.
Like I'll remember what song was on the radio that week when you hear these big pieces of news. Not so much as 9/11, because I guess I kind of quit listening to the radio. I was on the radio, but I wasn't listening to the radio.
That's a topic for next time you're on the show.
Okay.
Because these windows of time where we're deeply impressionable, and it's not like they never happen again in terms of being able to like take in new styles or new artists, or it's just that when we're younger, or there are traumatic events associated with it, right? That are nationally or globally felt, or even just locally or personally felt. The music that's connected to those things gets in and affects us in a deeper way. Teachable moments or something.
Well, we should talk about your birth year next time I'm here, because
absolutely, I would really love to talk about that.
The year that everything happened. I mean, I think 68 was the most profound year of the 20th century. Maybe 1929, but or 41, but 68. Oh my God! Everything just went kablooey that year.
Yeah.
In good ways and in scary ways. Vietnam and Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy and Plenty to talk about.
Plenty to talk about, and I would really appreciate that. And then to talk about it in terms of music, as well as those big national events and how these things are connected. I'm super down for that.
Okay, I bet we're almost out of time.
We're out of time. It's 12:03. So I'm thinking, let's talk right quick about what's happening the next couple of weeks, and then would you be willing to take us out?
I can do that.
Okay. So if you've been just joining us, welcome to Postcards. If you've been listening in, we're so glad you've been here with us. Roland Carranza and Jason Barnes, two of my favorite people. Nice to see you here. Oh, my goodness. And of course, all our listeners who've been hanging out with us for the full hour. We're so glad that you've been here. I've been your host, Jenny Van West, as usual, coming to you live from the Postcard Studio here in Portland, Maine. I've been joined by my very wonderful new old buddy, Jay Peterson.
Hello, everybody. We'll see you again.
And just right quick, there's no show on Monday. I'm going to be up north with the moose and my hubs doing some hiking around Baxter State Park, and looking forward to seeing Millinocket in that area for the very first time after 17 years of living here. I've never been to Millinocket.
It's probably got snow already up there.
It's probably got snow already. In fact, I wrote a fiddle tune called Snow in Millinocket a number of years ago, about 10 years ago, and I should pull that one back out and play it for my friend Ada. Diggy says, coming in from Santa Clarita, says one of my favorite guests. Yes. We've had some pretty amazing. And the postcard song, Judith, I played it at the beginning, but we've got our amazing guest here. Jay Peterson's going to take us out with a song. So appreciate your patience with that. No show next week. The week after that, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be talking with the very wonderful Nikki O'Neill, who's a great lady that you would love. She's a fabulous guitar player from lives in Evanston, Illinois. Got roots all over the place, and has lived in Sweden. Another Swedish connection. All right.
Fin så bra.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to take you out with the song from...
All right. I hope it clears up so you can go out and look at the stars tonight. Would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a fish? A fish is an animal that swims in a brook. He can't write his name or read a book. To fool the people is his only thought. Though he's slippery, he still gets caught. So if you swim in a brook is what you wish, you might grow up to be a fish. Or would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a pig? A pig is an animal with dirt on his face. His shoes are a terrible disgrace. He got no manners when he eats his food. He's kind of lazy and extremely rude. So if you don't get a feather or a fig, you might grow up to be a pig. Or would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Or would you rather be a mule? A mule is an animal with long funny ears. He kicks up at everything he hears. His back is brawny, but his brain is weak. He's just plain stupid with a stubborn streak. So if you think you don't want to go to school, you might grow up to be a mule. And all the monkeys aren't in the zoo. Every day you meet quite a few. So you see, it's all up to you. You could be better than you are. Well, you could be swinging on a star.
Have a great week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jay.